Hey guys, this is Chaos Corona back with another episode. We're on to deck number 9 out of our Dark Tidings display. Still no Evil Twin, so hopefully within the last 4 decks we're going to see a one. Let's just see what we got today. Alright, for our 9th deck we have an Unfathomable, Logos, and Saurian deck. Fortified, 2nd Lin. Nice blue Archon. Let's open this up and check it out. Alright, starting with Unfathomable, we have Wicolia, 3-power creature with Reap. Keys cost +2 Amber during your opponent's next turn. Sink or Swim, it's an action. Play, you choose one. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand, or exhaust a creature in each of its neighbors. Photic Raider, 2-power creature with play, capture 2 Amber. While the tide is high, Photic Raider gets +4 power. Maelstrom, it's an action. Put each creature on top of its owner's deck in a random order, gain 2 chains. Bubbles, 5-power creature with play, put an enemy creature on top of its owner's deck. 2 copies of Bubbles, and the second copy is enhanced with the draw icon. Thundertoe, it's an action. Amber whenever you play it. Exhaust 2 creatures, deal 2 damage to each exhausted creature. 2 copies of Thundertoe. Kiri, Guiltspine, 3-power creature with elusive. After an enemy creature reaps, it does not ready during its controller's next ready card step. Kaupe, 2-power creature. Your opponent cannot play more than 1 card of each card type, action, artifact, creature, upgrade, each turn. Echo Pearl, it's an artifact. Amber whenever you play it. With Omni, destroy Echo Pearl, exhaust, stun, and enrage a creature. The Chosen One, 9-power creature. Instead of readying creatures they control during their ready card step, your opponent deals 1 damage to the Chosen One for each exhausted creature they control. That's it for Unfathomable. Moving on to Saurians, we have Spoils of Battle. Amber whenever you play it. A friendly creature captures 1 Amber. Each creature with Amber on it captures 1 Amber from its opponent. 2 copies of Spoils of Battle. Ostracize. It's an action. Lose 1 Amber. If you do, perch creature. Medicus Lacus, 5-power creature. While the tide is high, you may spend Amber on friendly creatures as if they were in your pool. 2 copies of Medicus Lacus. Crushing Charge. It's an action. Destroy each creature with power 4 or lower. Gain 1 chain. 2 copies of Crushing Charge. Console Primus, 3-power creature with Enhance, capture icon, and Reap. Move 1 Amber from a creature to another creature. Altruist Rostrum, it's an artifact. With action, move 1 Amber from a creature to another creature. So essentially, Console Primus and an artifact. 2 copies of that. Second copy is enhanced with that capture icon. Sorarium is an artifact. Amber whenever you play it. Each creature with the lowest power cannot reap. 2 copies of Sorarium. And that's it for Saurians. Moving on to Logos, we have Old Egad, 1-power 2-armor creature with destroyed, ward each of Old Egad's neighbors. 2 copies of him. A lot of duplicates in this deck. Infomorph, 4-power creature that enhances 2 draw icons into the deck. Hydro Cataloger, it's an artifact. Amber whenever you play it. After a player raises the tide, they archive the top card of their deck. Final Analysis, it's an action. Destroy each creature. Each player draws a card for each creature they controlled that was destroyed this way. 2 copies of Final Analysis, a lot of wipes. Armor Drone, 1-power 3-armor creature with Fight, steal 1 Amber. Think Twice, it's an action. Play an action card from your discard pile, then purge it. Groundbreaking Discovery, it's an action, and whenever you play it, if you control Dr. Vrocker, Rooftop Laboratory, and Reckless Experimentation, destroy each card in play, unforge an opponent's key, and purge Groundbreaking Discovery. Which means the last couple of cards are going to be what was listed. Reckless Experimentation, it's an upgrade. Amber 1 of you play it. This creature gains Reap. Play the top card of your deck. Rooftop Laboratory, enhance with that other draw icon. Each friendly scientist creature enters play ready. And lastly, we have Dr. Vrocker, 2-power creature with Elusive, and Reap. Put an upgrade or action card from your discard pile on top of your deck. That was the last card of the deck. Let's get this sorted out to take a look at what the cool parts and main highlights of this deck are. Alright, looking at the highlights for this deck, we see that Unfathomable does what it does best in terms of exhausting creatures and disrupting the opponent, preventing the opponent from being able to ready their cards, or at least their creatures, and then having cards that affect exhausted creatures. That's the main focal point of the Unfathomable in this deck. Obviously, there's also the part where Bubbles, Maelstrom return creatures on top of their owner's deck. So it's a lot of board control primarily in Unfathomable, with a touch of Amber control with Fodder Grader and Lucolia. Cup is another big highlight for Unfathomable. It's kind of like Ember Imp from set 1 that limited your opponent to only playing 2 cards. For this one, it's limited to 1 copy of, or 1 card from each type. So not as limiting, but if your opponent has a handful of creatures, then that's pretty limiting. So Kaup is probably one of the main targets for old EGAD to ward, just to make sure you can maximize the benefit of that effect for most of the game. Moving on to Saurians. Saurarium is unfortunately not going to be very conducive to the deck, as most of your creatures are on the smaller end. You have several 1-power creatures, 2-power creatures, so it's unlikely that Saurarium is going to be as ideal to play. Those 2 pips might be important, but given that I don't think there is any artifact control, you can't really remove it whenever you want. So having 2 copies of that card is a little bit of an anti-synergy in this deck. Altruistic Rostrum. That one's pretty good because we have a lot of capture-based Amber control, so moving it onto your opponent's creatures is going to help you generate some more Amber, rather than just delaying your opponent from getting to their endgame. I'll quickly look over to the right side with Spoils of Battle. That's one of the main Amber control cards in this deck, as the more widespread you have in terms of a board that has captured Amber, the more likely you can control more of your opponent's Amber. Again, moving it to other creatures is still a bit limited, with just 3 cards that can do so, but you also have Medicus Lacus that allows you to use the Amber on those creatures to forge keys. So that is pretty good synergy, though again, we're going to need to use Old EGAD to help ward. It would have been nice to see a ward option within the Saurian house directly to protect some of these key creatures. Ostracize is a great card to get rid of a specific creature your opponent has. And Crushing Charge, much like the Saurarium, is a card that's going to affect your own cards as well. So the large bulk of your deck is consistent of creatures that are 4-power or lower, so Crushing Charge is going to destroy your own creatures, which creates some anti-synergy there. Moving into Logos, we have the Groundbreaking Discovery set of cards. All in all, pretty strong combination. It is, again, more for disrupting the opponent from getting to their endgame rather than help you get to yours. So personally, not my playstyle, but definitely something that certain players would enjoy. Think Twice helps you play cards out of your discard pile, but at the same time you purge it. So cards like Crushing Charge, which you might not want to keep for the long game, you can potentially purge and make your deck a bit more efficient over time. Since we have Maelstrom and 2 copies of Final Analysis to wipe the board, there's plenty of board control options, plenty of wipes, so we could get rid of some here and there. Armadrone adds a little bit of Amber control. Hydro Cataloger, since it's working both ways, both for your opponent and for yourself, it's not the most ideal card in my mind. It is a nice balance card, so in that sense it's good for the game, but obviously you're trying to find the most advantages you can get. Infomorph is the main contributor to speed in this deck. The rest of Logos doesn't necessarily speed you up. The Reckless Experimentation does though, and Dr. Vrocker can as well. And of course the old EGADs are sources of wards. Overall, I think the deck is okay, but not great. It's the anti-synergies that we see in this deck that unfortunately bring it down a little bit. The expected Amber is a little bit on the lower side, as we don't have as many generators, but Medicus Lacus is going to be a very key part to this deck's endgame. That turns your captures essentially into Amber that you can use for yourself. Overall, Amber control cards are a little bit lacking, so we're going to be a little hard pressed to consistently take wins with this deck. But with the groundbreaking discovery and delays, we may have a chance. So with that being said, I'm going to rate this deck at about a 65, just around average. There's a lot of board control, so within the set it might be good. As far as I've seen, there's a lot of board-based decks within Dark Tidings, but in terms of the meta overall, that's not necessarily the case. So that's it for this deck. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like button, and once again, consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know what you guys thought. Do you guys agree? Do you guys have your own thoughts on how this deck would play out? And yeah, let me know if I missed anything. So with that all being said, thank you guys for dropping by and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, be kind and happy forging.